I've got 8:30 by my time frame, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to remind everyone up here at the table, and also you speaking out there, please, please, please get close enough to your microphone so people can hear. We got several comments back at the end of last meeting that people couldn't hear, people that were streaming couldn't. So I know it's a little bit of a pain, but make sure that that thing's up here where people can hear you, okay? And I'll hope you people out there will let us know if you can't hear us, okay? All right. So, Pat, will you do the roll?
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Hardeman?
Here.
Mrs. Hassel?
Here.
Mr. Horn?
Here.
Mrs. Jacobson?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Storr? Mr. Chairman, there are 6 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Okay. So first up is the financial reports.
Thank you, Greg. So the results for February are as follows. First, I'm going to go over POA and amenities. Revenue for February, we're behind budget slightly by $12,000. Assessment revenue for admin is slightly fell by approximately $41,000. Food and beverage also made up a shortfall of 60% of that 41 at approximately $25,000. Golf's in line with estimates. For cost of goods sold for February, we're slightly better than budget, with a variance of $2,000 for F&B. It's anticipated that COGS will be approximately 91 for the month. In actuality, we're at 89 respectively. Golf COGS are higher than budget by approximately $4,000. For operating expenses for POA and amenities, including payroll, we had considerable savings in the general expenses to include payroll. Expenses overall were at $3 million against the estimate of 3.5. Repairs and maintenance, we're below budget by $250,000, and we think that's can be explained by timing of invoices and our workflow management. Overall, we are below budget guidelines by $457,000 for the year to date as of February 28th. Net income for POA and amenities, we are ahead of schedule by $451,000. We continue to monitor our spending, payroll, and revenue generation against budget. So far, we are in line with top-line revenue, and we are well ahead of budget for expenses for year-to-date. For the wastewater treatment and sewer, top-line revenue came in below guidelines by approximately $22,000. The biggest variance was in residential sewer fees, which were $8,000 off. Operating expenses for sewer to include payroll. We had large variances, possibly for payroll, materials, and repairs and maintenance. Total in this area of general expenses was a positive $52,000 for February. Net income for sewer was better than budget expectations. For 2025 through February 28th, actuals for sewer reported at $94,000 against a budget of $64,000, which gives us a positive $30,000 variance. And that's it for the financial report, Greg.
All right, questions from the board? Okay, Nico?
This is Nico Sergio, community club member since April of 2005. Jason, under the wastewater treatment plant, you don't just hook up on a daily basis to sewer. So when you do the budget for the year or the month, you would know how many residential customers you have, and you have a rough idea commercial. So are people just not, your sewer fee is included in your monthly, you pay monthly or quarterly or annually for your POA fee. So are people just stop paying? And if they're stopped paying their sewer, did they stop paying their POA fee? Or I guess I don't understand that.
Yeah, so we do it on an accrual basis, Nico. Whether they pay or not would affect our cash, but our billing from an accrual standpoint is where this is populated. So this would be based on the amount of people that we bill. And that could be, I could get you a breakdown. I don't have it with me now, but I could give you a breakdown in terms of residential and commercial and show you what the variance actually is.
So do you think this is going to be an ongoing problem for the rest of the year?
No.
That we're coming up short or anything? I'm still kind of confused on what you're telling me.
So I could get, do you want to weigh in terms of?
Yeah,
believe this was a reassessment of that Good Samaritan, is why the short.
Bruce, you're going to have to get up here by a mic.
I believe there was a reassessment up at Good Samaritan of the cottages, Nico, and that ended up being less than the forecast out of Good Samaritan. So it's a one-time thing, and it will be there all year, but it's a one-time thing. So we're still bringing in the same amount of sewer fees from there. It's just how they reorganized it. So
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Bruce.
yeah.
Oh, get caught in this curtain here.
Tom?
Tom Ratcliffe. Couple of things, Jason. First of all, on food and beverage, favorite topic. Stonehenge, the question I would have on Stonehenge, were their sales less than budget, number one? Number two, were they less than last year? So those two questions on food and beverage. And I guess when I look at, and I know it's only 2 months, that the budget is, we're already behind by about $30-some thousand. Question I would have for the board is, let's start it early. Is it a bad budget again this year? So that's a board question.
So I'm going to answer your first questions. In reference to Stonehenge, we're slightly behind the budget. Year-over-year analysis, we're right in line to where we were in 2023, which is the number that they use for estimates. In reference to whether this is a permanent or temporary difference, is what you're asking, I guess, going forward for the revenue for Stonehenge. We can't gauge, whether it's too early in the year to decide if this is a permanent difference in terms of the revenue. But certainly we were behind budget for the first 2 months.
I might add, Tom, the major variance here is not Stonehenge, it's the snack bars. And a lot of that ties to when golf courses are open and people are playing. And if they're not playing, they're not eating, and they're not drinking. So that's where the major variance is this time. It's not with Stonehenge, it's with the snack bars.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I think it's another reason, Jason, to add the report back. I'm assuming the board's still getting it, food and beverage.
The food and beverage executive summary.
That report might make sense, be easily to spot if we had it. You guys have it.
I believe the intent is to give a quarterly food and beverage report. To look at a food and beverage operation of this size on a monthly basis is an exercise in, yes, we will definitely see patterns on a quarterly basis, but to analyze an operation in 1 month, and particularly 2 months in the wintertime, is a little premature.
So, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. I guess, as I've always said before, we should get the same reports you guys are getting. If the board's getting it, they must feel it's important, even looking at it over 2 months, give it to us at the same time. I appreciate that. I'll save my rest of the questions. Yeah.
Any other questions on the financials? Okay, hearing none. Major capital projects, Bill, Druid?
Yes, just pleased to say that we've made some good progress last.
What did I miss?
Transfer.
Oh, hold on. I've got, I'm sorry, yeah, transfer.
Greg, in reference to the transfer from the operating reserves to capital projects, our budgeted expectations for revenue exceed our expenses, so there's no request for a transfer for this year.
So typically what we do is we transfer money from the operating reserve into the capital. And this year, we're not going to be doing that because the funds that we have are more than adequate to cover the cost of the capital we have planned for 2025, 5. Okay? I keep going one, be talking about 2026, right? Okay. Now, any questions about that? Hearing none, now, Bill, we'll go to you.
Yes, so the steering committee has met with architects and the general contractors on 3 separate occasions now, finalizing the final numbers and estimates that we're getting in on the project. We just received late yesterday afternoon the contract proposal from our general contractor. That will be reviewed on Friday with them, as well as representatives from Fairfield Glade, and we look forward to getting that finalized in short order and commencing mobilization on the construction aspect. It's about a 30-day mobilization process. They're currently estimating the project to be 15 months. So we're looking at sometime late July, August of 2026 for a completion. But of course, with construction, stay tuned for updates, but that's currently where we stand. So it's all good. We're pleased with the progress we're making and the work that's been done to get us where we are now, and feel good about where we're going forward.
You'll hear across the board tomorrow that our intention is for the April board meeting, we will have a meeting after the meeting like we did in July to go through the numbers so everyone has an opportunity to see them. So that will probably be after the board meeting of April. I don't have the date in front of me, but it'll be the 4th Thursday in April. Okay? All right. Member comments? Go, come on up.
I'll just ask it under member comments and get ahead of things. So tomorrow on the agenda, there's a car for 15.7 million, 15.8 million
Yes.
for this project.
Yes.
What was the budget again?
16.
The presentation that was done last summer was a estimate at that time. Mr. Cox presented it. It was at 16.2. If you take that current car request and add what's been spent year to date, total project 16.4.
And okay, so then that's total project, and that's the
That's
spend.
phase 3 of the master plan of Druid Hills. Phase 1 was the driving range and the quarry, which is completed. Phase 2 was the golf garage performance center, which is if it's not been closed out, it will be in the next day or two. And then we're now in phase 3 of the master plan, which is the Druid Hills Clubhouse, and those are those numbers there. I believe the original estimate that was given back in 2021 at a presentation to the membership for the total master plan was just over 20 million, and that is tracking on in line as well.
Okay, and so in other words, Bill, what you just said was, when I look at what the 3-year capital plan was for the project, it'll be basically 16 million and some change. What
For
we
the
spent
clubhouse.
with,
For phase 3.
Phase
For
3.
For phase 3,
okay. Thank
which
you.
is the phase we're in now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why in April, we're going to present all this. We'll see all the
Yeah,
numbers split out.
it'll be very, Jason's done a great job. We've been reviewing, and we're putting it all into a format that I think everyone will be able to understand and see and very clearly where we are.
And so therefore, it will be based on this car is based on actual proposals. It's not another
Right.
guess. It's,
That is a breakout of the amount that the GC is. It's a lump sum contract, lump sum agreement, not to exceed. There are some exceptions that obviously are in there, but interestingly enough, tariffs are one of them now. But we have that number, and then there is the side that is on the owner. So there are, and we will also track that going forward as to where things stand relative to the general contractor expenses and payout, and then what is by owner payout.
so
Owner is things like landscaping, IT packaging, the a portion of the FF&E and the like.
and so the car tomorrow is for the contractor?
The Car to Mar is both combined. That's what I was clarifying.
Okay, it is both
The
combined.
contractor number is 14.8 and some change, and then the balance is what's responsible of the owner. And then that comes to the 15.7, and if you add up what's been spent year to date to getting prepared to this point of the project, you add that in, total comes to 16.4 and change.
Thank you.
And again, we'll split all that out for you next month.
Nico, Nico Sergio again. I sent the board a email yesterday, and part of that, the main intent of that was the policy comments that are made, I think should be published. In the past, people who have responded or reported on the policies have given just a brief comments. We don't know if they commented on all of the comments that were received. And I think the members deserve to know what other community club members say about policy changes. My comments on the refund policy for veterans, I changed the title of that to say refund policy for eligible individuals. My policy comments were that it should include disabled veterans, spouses of disabled veterans, spouses of U.S. Armed Forces personnel killed in the line of duty, Fairfield Glade firefighters with 5 years of service, and the firefighters.
I'm going to have to interrupt you, Nico. We're going to talk about all this tomorrow. That's when it's on the agenda. We have your comments. You will respond to what we took into account and what we didn't. But that's a conversation for tomorrow.
No, it's not. This is open comments. I'm talking about anything that concerns community club members. Moving on to the voluntary lot transfer. It's stated in there that such properties cannot be transferred to a buyer with a free and clear title for at least 6 years from the date the county repossesses the property. Individuals can purchase a Cumberland County-owned lot in Fairfield Glade for under $500. The community club has a contract with Fairfield Glade Land Tennessee LLC to purchase a C-tier lot for $1,000. The community club sells A-tier lots for $5,500, B lots for $3,500, and C-tier for $1,000. It's also stated in the proposed policy, the cost of collection on these delinquent properties may exceed $100 per annually, and it is quite costly and time-consuming. I took 8 C-tier properties and checked the property taxes. The average property taxes on 8 randomly selected C-tier lots is $23.12 per year. Therefore, paying the property taxes on C-tier lots is cheaper to the community club members than the cost of employee time and resources. It's also stated in the policy, before consideration to voluntarily transfer their lots to the club, the investor must pay all past due property taxes owed against the lots before execution of the warranty deed and an administrative fee of $50 per lot to the club. What procedure is in place to enforce this part of the policy? The developer, Fairfield Glade, FGH Land LLC, Wyndham Vacation Resorts, formerly Fairfield Glade Resorts, and Cumberland County-owned lots are not eligible to participate in this policy. Again, what procedures are in place to enforce this policy, and how costly would legal action against a defaulting property owner be? Thank you.
Like I said, we'll be talking about this tomorrow. I do want to remind everyone, I'll make the same statement tomorrow. Comments on policies are exactly that. They're comments. It's up to the board to take into account the ones that they think are necessary and are good ideas to put in. That doesn't mean other ideas aren't good. It just means that they're not ones that we would put into the policy this time. So I ask everyone to remember that comments are just exactly that, comments. One of the things that we really look at, and when we review any policy, is the policy that we put up on the website, on the members' website, is the policy we're reviewing. We're not reviewing other copies of policies or other things other than the changes that we want to make to the policy. So one of the things that you'll hear tomorrow is a number of people got in and tried to rewrite the whole policy. That's not what this is about. It's to take the amendments that the board is putting forward for those policies and to look at those and only those. So we'll get into all that tomorrow, but thank you.
I still request that the board publish all the comments on these policies. Thank you.
Nico, if I may just add to that, I don't think it would show very favorably on some of the people who make comments. You know, it's kind of like asking, would you ask your local council person to post everything like that? Some of the people make comments, they're not written well, they're blasphemous, things like that, and I don't think it would show well on our members to create a positive environment.
You could give the commenter an option to post their name or not.
I'm sorry? What did
You could give the commentator an option to either use their name or not use their name with the comments.
Well, there's obviously a lot of confusion with these policies that we're reviewing, because people have numbers wrong, they have a lot of things wrong. But we'll get into all that tomorrow, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member comments?
Good morning. I'm Helen McClanahan, and I've been a member here since 2020. I wanted to ask the board and follow up a little bit on Miko's, is it Nico or Miko? I'm sorry, Nico's comment. I'm curious to know, how are these policies that are put forward for public comment, how are they vetted? Can just any member of the board put forward that? Or is there agreement among the board before they're actually put out there for member input?
Good question. Generally, someone will bring it forward, or a group of board members will bring it forward, or operations will bring it forward because they're having problems with interpreting or working with the policy. And typically there's agreement that these are ones that we want to put forward. And then we write up what the changes are, and then we announce at a board meeting that we're going to be posting them, and we ask for member comments.
All right. Well, I was glad to see that at least on some of your policies, you got some feedback and you pulled it back to look at it further. I have a follow-up question, and this one's related to the policies that are out there, and it's more curiosity. Our community club funds, the funds that we all pay into through our POA and our membership fees, are those funds used for the building of private residences and homes by individuals?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm very positive to hear that, because quite honestly, one of the policies that has been put forward, the refund for veterans lot purchase policy, is actually a policy that would take Fairfield Glade
Well,
Community Club funds for use.
That is one of the biggest misnomers about that policy. If you read the policy, and this is hard for people to get because they don't work with it as closely as some of the board members, those only are for Fairfield Community Club owned C or A lots. There's about 290 of them.
Right?
They're the ones we sell for about $5,000 a
So you
pop.
sell them and you get proceeds from the sale that
Yes,
go
we do.
into the Fairfield Community Club
They
funds.
are non-earning assets. So we pay taxes on them. If a tree goes down, we have to go out and fix them because they're our lots. And we get no revenue from them. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to get rid of those lots as best we can.
I
Because we're not
understand
in the
that.
real estate business for
I
that.
understand that, but in essence, I mean, did you consider just a straight veteran discount? There is a lot of support for veterans in this community. It seems like a veterans discount would be a nice way to thank them. But instead, you chose to develop a policy that actually would take away from the funds that we pay into that are supposed to be used to support
Well, the only
the
funds-
building and the maintenance of recreational facilities and common areas.
The only funds that are going to be taken out would be the $5,000 that we would have sold the lot for anyway. But we'll get that back within 2 years, or 3 years.
It doesn't matter when you get that back.
But we
You're
have
taking the funds out of the operational funds.
No, we're not taking anything out of operations.
How
Absolutely
are you
not.
going to provide a refund?
The refund comes, it's a write-off. We're not going to charge them. If we charge them the $5,000 because they bought the lot or the builder bought the lot, then we'll give that $5,000 that they paid back. There's nothing else that goes back. If the veteran comes in and says, I'm ready, I'm got a builder and everything, we won't even charge the $5,000. So it's not anything that's already in our operations. It's strictly non-earning assets that we're trying to get rid of.
Well, I'm not sure I understand,
Okay.
because the policy you've written says that after 3 years, they're able to apply for a refund. Not an upfront, hey, you're a veteran, we're going to write off $5,000 at closing costs for you.
No, we're not writing off closing costs. All the closing costs are still incurred by the person buying the property.
That's fine, the closing costs. And the proceeds, they pay for the proceeds at closing, for whether that lot sells for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, the veteran, the individual pays for that.
Were you trying to say something, Jason?
I was just,
Because honestly, the way that you've written this policy is to actually have a financial exchange, a monetary exchange out of Fairfield Glade Community Club funds to an individual for the express purpose of them purchasing a privately owned lot for themselves to build.
None of them are privately owned. They're only referring to lots that Fairfield Glade Community Club
So are you
owns.
telling me that the individual who purchased that lot will not privately own that? That it will still be owned by the Fairfield Glade Community Club? Because
No,
that's what you're doing. You are actually taking funds that should be used for the construction, the maintenance, and the operation of recreational facilities. That's in the governing documents of this organization. And I understand a lot about governance because I was the governance person for a 501(c)(3). This is a 501(c)(4). I understand
Yeah.
that. But this policy is actually utilizing the funds, taking a withdrawal of funds once that home is completed and giving it to an individual, reimbursing them for their lot purchase. It's not an upfront, hey, we'll give you 10% off of a lot. You're actually utilizing the funds of this organization. I've spoken to a lot of friends and neighbors, people in my golf. They're upset about this. This is the collective funds. This policy, although it may be well-intended, is written to be very problematic, and it violates the charter, the governing documents of the organization.
Okay. We have about 2,200 lots that we have taken back and gotten some over the years. They turn over about, we sell about maybe 150 of those lots a year, and we get another about 250 of them back every year. Those are non-earning assets. When they come to us, we get no revenue from them. We try to sell them, okay?
But those assets do have a value, do they not? They have a market
Yes,
value.
they do, but for us, the way we look at it is the way the real value is getting someone to build a home and start paying dues.
So my question is, and I understand that, you've got a lot inventory problem, I completely get it for that. So why have you developed a policy then that is so narrowly scoped? If you're trying to address your lot inventory problem, why are you developing policies that are narrowly scoped? If you're trying to develop a policy to thank veterans, why are you developing policies that are an unethical and inappropriate use of Fairfield Glade collective community club funds rather than develop a simple policy that says, let's just give the veterans a discount on their lot purchase? If it's a $5,000, it's $6,500, whatever you're saying, $10,000 lot, it's still a significant thank you to our veterans. But you are conflating the issue, making it very complicated, And you're in one point telling us that you're trying to solve a problem, and you're doing it in such a narrow scope way by trying to combine it with another thing that you would like to do. I am merely asking, and I've heard from many other individuals, that this policy does not feel right because of the way that it's structured. And I would ask the board to consider separating those two things that you want to do and look at developing a policy that would support the inventory problem that you have and separate that from the veterans and develop a veteran thank you policy that is merely a thank you, a 10% discount. You're putting a lot of carrots out there saying you have to build a house within 3 years. What if a veteran doesn't build a house within 3 years? You know, what if their builder takes longer than that? I think this policy, and the policy as it is currently written, is not only a violation of the governing documents of this organization that says the purpose is to construct, maintain, and operate recreational facilities, but it is also an ethical violation of the use of these funds. It's a simple thing to solve. Separate the two, do something nice for veterans, thank them. Nico recommended adding other people to that. First responders, you've got a First Responders and Veterans Memorial going up. That is actually a wonderful use of Fairfield Glade Community Club funds, and it fits within the charter and the governing documents. But why not just develop a policy that just thanks veterans?
Just so you know that the memorial, Veterans Memorial and First Responders is not being done with Fairfield Glade Community Club monies.
Okay,
Those are all donations.
that's fine. If it was being done by Fairfield Glade Community Club funds, you'd actually get my support, because it's a recreational facility that can be used by all members of our community. It falls within the governing documents.
Okay. I think we get your point.
So I'd like to, I just am curious if there's anybody here on the board that thinks, well, maybe we should rethink this one, because there is some validity. I mean, you're taking funds out.
Well, and that's the difference, because we don't quite see it that way, or at least in the way I don't. I'll speak for myself there. Because these are non-earning assets that have been sitting for years.
But the bottom line is,
And they
you are
probably-
going to withdraw 5,000, 6,000,
we're not.
7,000 from the operating funds.
No, we're not.
How
We're
are
not.
how are they going to get the
We're
refund
just going to
then?
write it off and say that they get the lot for free if they follow the rules.
How are they
So
going
there's
to?
no funds that are going to be exchanged unless the buyer bought the, I'm sorry, the builder bought the lot, in which case he or she has paid something, and then at the end, if they build the house in the 3-year period, then they'll get that money back.
So you just told me that you're giving money back to the individual. There is a withdrawal from the community club funds to the individual. You on your books may be writing it off, but there is a transactional monetary thing that occurs, that an individual will get refund once they complete building their house. If their lot costs $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, that we would withdraw money from the
Well,
community club funds.
let's also be clear. This policy was originally written in 2021, correct? We've had one veteran take advantage of it.
You have this policy already?
Yes, that's why I made the statement that I did. We're looking at the changes we want to make to it. This
I would
policy was
recommend
passed
that
back in-
that the board,
This
you
policy
should,
was passed back in 2021.
that
So it's
this
an update of the
policy
policy,
should not
a
even
new policy.
exist, because it is a violation of the governing documents for it. Consider, maybe if only consider just giving a discount to
I
veterans
have
up front.
personally, just so we're clear about the governance piece, I have personally talked to our attorney about this. He sees no problem with what we're doing.
Well, I would venture to disagree, because I know that there are many people within this community that do not feel that the funds that we pay into should be used.
Okay? All right.
In there. And I would ask the board to reconsider that.
We'll talk about it this afternoon. Thank you. Appreciate the comments. Anybody else? Okay. Any board member comments? Bruce, I know you got one on lot sales.
Yeah, lot sales at the end of February, we took back 14 lots, voluntary lot transfers back to the community, sold 9 lots, and there was 1 merger through the end of February.
Bruce, are those C lots, A lots?
Microphone, Nico.
Michael, yeah.
Nico, Sergio, do you have a breakdown if they're A, B, or C lots?
I don't have that in front of me, Nico, but they typically are C lots.
Right.
But I'll get you the breakdown.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments from board members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for